Okay, this is a demonstration of using Visual Studio 2008 to develop a very simple C# program which will just print Hello World to the screen. The first thing we have to do is run the program. This is Visual Studio. I'm using Visual Studio 2008, and when you run it, it will come up something like this eventually, depending on whether you've run it before and what programs you have already developed, and so on. I'm going to now create a new project. So I go to the new file menu, choose new project, and then depends what languages you have as to what this will look like, but I've got Visual C#, and if I go to Visual C#, I can get up a console application. This is a simple application that will put up a kind of black console screen that will allow me to develop software, to have input and output, and the software will just produce that. It's a very simple application. I'm now going to give it a name, and I'm going to call it My Hello 1, and that's because I've already got a My Hello, and that's what we're going to call our thing. We're going to actually get the console to output the simple line Hello World and see how it goes. Notice when you add a name that it changes the solution name. You can actually generate a new solution name for yourself. It's a bit strange. Okay. If you've got it all right, you end up with something like this. My console application is a very simple application. It's plugged in a lot of things we don't need when we first start programming, and stuff that you have no idea what it is if you've never programmed before. We're going to get rid of most of that, like that, and be left with a very bare minimum C# program. C# is an object-oriented programming language, so it uses some things which you'll not be familiar with if this is your first programming experience. We have a class, and we're going to explain what that is fairly soon in our lessons, but just now we're going to develop a simple program. And what we want to do is write to the console which we're going to produce. So we need to call that up, and console is part of the system. So we say system dot, and we start typing console, and eventually it comes up with the right thing. Dot. Now we start typing what we want, which is to write to that console. We're going to actually write something which has a new line on the end, so we have a write line. And then you put what you want to write inside quotes, Hello World, and the quotes themselves go inside brackets, close the brackets, and every line in C# ends in every programming line ends in a semicolon somewhere, unless it's some sort of block like this main block here or this class block. Once we've done that, we can try running the program. Now up here there's several tags. We're going to choose the debug one, which allows us to start running the program. You can start running in the debug mode or without debugging, which is the mode we're going to choose. And you can press Control and F5 together to make that happen. Alternatively, let's just click it and see what happens. And there we get our little window, Hello World in it, and it says press any key to continue. We'll press that. If you'd clicked on this triangle instead, it would have run the project, but it would have displayed it, and as nothing went wrong, it would have finished straight away. So let's just click that again to see it happen. And there goes the thing. Oh, did you see it? It said Hello World. Okay, that's the end of our simple first project. When you've finished, you can just exit.